Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. We're talking about church windows accounting in this respect. So when we go into accounting, we're going to see the software by default typically will always set up a calendar accounting year, starting January 1, ending December 31st. As we clearly see here in the right center here, we've got our year that's set to January through December 2023. The church is now wanting to change that. So how do we do that in church windows accounting? Okay. So basically it talks about on the document there, you can change from a fiscal year that is calendar based to a fiscal year that is non-calendar based. So example, January 1 to December year to July to June. And that's actually what we're going to use here today for that. Okay. And now where you do that is you go up to special functions here in accounting, the top left, and under manage years, you'll see an option that's like near the bottom there that says convert to non-calendar to a non-calendar accounting year. It knows the type of year that we're on. So it sees and detects that we're on a calendar year starting January ending to December. And so it assumes then we would only then go to a non-calendar year. If we were on a fiscal or non-calendar year already, it would say convert to a calendar accounting year. And you'll see that when we go back, when we get that done, okay? So we're going to click on that. A couple things come up initially. First thing, it says a backup should be made before you convert to a non-calendar accounting year. Folks, I cannot stress this enough. Really make sure to make a point of making a backup of the data. I don't care whether you're a desktop, a single computer, network user, a cloud user, make a backup of your church windows data before changing this year, okay? Changing to a year, because if you don't like it, the only way to undo it is to restore a backup, okay? And I'm going to show you why. So we click OK on that. It now pops up with our next dialog box, which is on page 48 there, or on the first page that says, while this screen is open, you have exclusive access. No one else will be able to make changes to accounts or enter transactions while you're on this screen. So nobody else can be logged into accounting when you do this. We've had this button down here that says issues to consider before changing, okay? It used to go to something that we had. Well, I got to click OK on my dialog box. Locking my tables. So basically it's saying no one else has access to accounting while I'm in this window. It's a global setting. But if we click on the issues to consider before changing, this used to open a document, but it now essentially opens up the help page on managing years. So if we kind of go down here, you see the option that says convert to a non-calendar accounting year, and then it opens up some sub options on that, converting to a non-calendar accounting year with information, and then even further down, convert to a calendar year. But, you know, I guess the question is, what do you consider? You know, I mean, what is the reasoning behind why you're wanting to change to a fiscal year versus, you know, a calendar year? Is it budgetary issues? Is it, you know, I mean, what are the reasons? You have to have your own reasons to do that. But it does, you can go back to a calendar year if you wish, but there are limitations and restrictions on how that process occurs. And I'm going to try to show you what those are when we go through this process. Okay. So let's just go ahead and close out of that. So here, if we've said, yep, we're going to do this, first thing I would do is I would exit all the way out of accounting, and I would go to administration, back up, and I would make a backup of my data, and, you know, click my start begin backup and make sure that I've got that backup in a place where I know where it is. Okay. So then once that backup is made, now I can proceed confidently with this. Why? Because I've got an undo. All right. I can just simply go in and restore my data or my accounting database, and I'm back to where I was, you know, 5 minutes ago. But we're going to go ahead and now we're assuming we've made our backup. We're going to go back to manage years, convert to a non-calendar accounting year. We've made our backup, and we've got our exclusive access, locking the accounting tables again. Current accounting year is showing January through December 23. And folks, this is really this is the easiest part of this, really, because you go literally click the down arrow. It shows you all of the months that we've got in our year with the exception of January. And the reason is because it's going to require that you run at least a shortened year of some kind for the current year. Okay, here we are in June, so we're going to make our assumption that our church has requested or that has asked that we convert to a July 2023 new fiscal year to June of 2024. So you just choose the new start date or start month. So we're going to choose July of 2023, and it says the following years will be created, January 23 to June 23, an amended or shortened year, and then a new 12-month year starting July of 23 through June of 24. Okay. This is really important thing to understand about this process for Church Windows. It will always run or create a shorter year, a year that's shorter than 12 months to make up the gap period. Okay. So in this case, it's not, going from January of 22 to June of 23. It's creating a 6-month year for the 6 months from the January of this year to June of 23, the first 6 months. And the same would be true if you were going back from a fiscal year back to a calendar year. The software will never create a year that is more than 12 months long. It's that simple, okay? So once we've got our period selected for our new start month, we're going to click OK. It'll ask me, give me one opportunity to cancel out of it. It's going to say, are you sure you want to convert to a non-calendar start counting year? We're going to click yes. It now goes through its gyrations. It's now unlocking my accounting tables, and we now notice that our fiscal year now displays as July 2023 to June 2024. Okay. We're at the bottom of that second page now there on that. Let me see if there's something in here I've missed. Nope. Yep. Gone through that. So now I've got my new year. And again, if I go back up to Special Functions, Manage Years, and View Accounting Year Date information, we show 22 full 12-month year, the first 6 months of 23, and then a new 12-month accounting profile year for the new fiscal year starting July 1. All right. If I go back up to Special Functions and Manage Years, notice it now says Convert to a Calendar Accounting Year. So if I do that, again, it says accounting year of January 23, the most recent, has previously converted, cannot be converted again. Please wait until transactions have been posted in the new year. So if I wanted to go back to that, I would have to go in and post at least one transaction if I wanted to go back to a year that ran from July of 23 to December of 23. Okay. I do have some options as well. Because I haven't entered any transactions, I could go back up to Special Functions, Manage Years, and delete my accounting year of July through June 24. But that doesn't then change the data back for the previous year, now back to January through December. I still have a year of January 23 through June of 23. The software doesn't assume that it goes back to a 12-month profile. Again, this is one of the reasons why your backup of your data becomes vitally important, okay? Sure, now I'm back to my regular end-of-year processes, okay? I can go back to Manage Years, change back and forth between my years. I will still go down here to under Manage Years now that I'm in the new year, do my update beginning balances from prior accounting year, ending balances. Again, this is the function that allows you to work back and forth between the two accounting years. Okay, so I would just update those, and I've now brought forward my current balance sheet totals from June 30th up into the beginning balances for July 1 of 23 for the new year. As I continue to work between, in June, I would update those new year beginning balances as many times as I need or want, and then ultimately one final time when I'm done with the prior 6-month year. Okay. None of those end-of-year processes change. Sure, now I can go back into my new year, go to my budgets, key in all my budget figures and what have you for my new year. None of that information changes. Okay. But notice here, it even did bring over my budgets from my prior system. So from my previous 12-month year, it just shifted them to July through June as opposed to from January through December. Okay. So the software is pretty smart that way. Okay. But seriously, folks, when you go up here to back up to special functions, manage years, convert to a calendar accounting year, the same process occurs, except the software then requires that it go back to January. Okay? You're basically changing it back to a calendar year as opposed to fiscal, where you can choose any one of the other 11 months within the year. When you're going back to calendar, it assumes it's January. You simply click OK. It says, are you sure you want to do this? You click yes, and whatever the year is in, the gap year, again, in the middle, it's created a shortened accounting year, a short accounting year. What the software will not do, and this is really important, and it's honestly going to be the last thing that I'm going to talk about this topic, because again, we're pretty much done on that. It's not really terribly hard, is if the church goes, we're on a year of July 23 to June 24, but we now want to change that to a different fiscal year, going from, say, April of 23 to March of 24, there is no function in the software that we build into it that allows that to occur. So if you're currently on a fiscal year, one fiscal year, and you want to change to a different fiscal year within there, basically a non-calendar year, okay, you need to call us. All right. My developers, programmers can assist with this process, but it does require us getting involved and getting a backup of your data over here so my developers can work their magic on it and get you shifted from one fiscal accounting year to another. It isn't terribly often that occurs, okay? But if you're in a situation where you've changed to a fiscal year and then the church goes, oops, we made a mistake, we want to change that to a different fiscal period within the year, you've got to contact us and get us involved. And we'll be happy to do that for you, of course, okay? So that, folks, is where I am going to leave this topic for today.